best not miss. 1,000 pardons, my people. 1,000 pardons. I don't know what that was all about. That's never really happened. That has never really happened on us. But listen, you already know what it is. Shout out to my day ones and my stay ones. Definitely over there in this situation. Listen, what was that? 1 second, 1 second, 1 second. Bear with your brother, bear with your brother. Make sure I get that. Listen, don't get too down on me. Yes, I know your brother's on some bull crap today. But listen, we do have a hot show nonetheless, right? We do have a hot show. So some of you may not know, but we are in the middle of restructuring our channel and things of that nature, right? So I cannot dump tons of the types of views that I have been presenting lately because it'll throw the algorithm off. But this thing about racism, I am coming to a place where I truly want to gather up about just 100 or 1,000 Caucasian Americans and just ask them right there, hey, I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page. Racism does exist, right? Excuse me. White privilege does exist, right? Listen, here's what's going on. I'm seeing it on my own content, right? I'm seeing it on my own content. I have noticed that when black people speak on what their lived experience is here in America, it's like despite us right now, listen to me, having a white man who is walking around throughout the nation, walking up on innocent black people, calling them niggers. And what I have just come into the understanding of, listen, I've seen it on some of my own content. Either a significant number of white people have went delusional, or they're doing a thing where they're trying to make it seem like they don't know what we're talking about. Listen, there are many grievances that black people have living in America. Now, I'm starting to see this on my own content. I'm starting to see where the slightest thing that you put up there related to how it's been for you in America, right? They will tell you you have a victim mentality. Like this is visible for all to see what it is like for people who are black living in America. And I have come to a place, let me see something. It better not get this good. I have come to a place where I have noticed it is real. There is I'm pretty sure a lot of these people are serious when they say, we victim blame it, and they don't believe these things that we're saying. I don't know what to say because the stuff is not hidden. The things that are the way that black people are being treated in America is visible for the whole world to see. Other prime ministers of other countries have spoke out against it. How America treats its African Americans. So what I'm starting to notice is if you say something about that stuff, you will get a large number of people like, here goes the victim mentality, and then you know who commits most of the murders. Like, now listen, it's not no picnic walking around America being black. It's not no picnic. There is definitely psychological damage that comes with it. Being raised, being taught that you're a second tier person. that these people right here, make sure you'll never go too far. Have you guys ever noticed how many police officers African Americans pop a year? It's probably close to none, right? I could be wrong, but what I do know is hard head in the building. Legends. Game is definitely in this situation. But yeah, what I've come to understand is I think people have intentionally deluded themselves from knowing how African Americans are treated in America, because I think if they were to tell the truth and be honest about how African Americans are treated in America and what they have to go through, they would be forced to have more respect for us, just off of the sheer of the obstacles that are set before us. They're not even hidden. You could get on ChatGPT and look this stuff up. We're talking about institutions that have been funded to make sure that blacks don't advance too far past a certain mark. And I'm telling you, I've really been like, I've been seeing these comments lately. It's been really throwing me off, because the only other time that we see this level of delusion, I'm telling you, it's on posts of mine. The only other time that we see this level of delusion is when we're talking to the women and they go delusional. Yep, ain't nothing wrong with having 2 kids by 2, all of that stuff. This is when we see this, when we're dealing with the women going delusional. So I'm going to be honest. I think there's because I see it on my own content. I believe that there's a significant portion of white people in America who have tricked themselves into believing that blacks and whites have equal rights and that blacks don't go through any other extra obstacles as any other people. There's no such thing as white privilege. I think that there is a group of people who have really, I don't know how you could miss that. Like I said, right now, currently, we have a white man walking around the nation being famous and financially supported to walk up on innocent black people and call them the nigger. There we go. There we go. There we go. Your brother found it. But I want to get into this, man. I want to get into this.
Are you saying black people can't have accountability, bro? If you say chimp,
I have to send a shout out to DJ Academics, because he definitely stood his ground. Listen, we're going to be honest with Myron. Myron's he lives the life of an unwanted person, you know what I mean? Not desired by many. And I'm talking about women. But nonetheless, he's intelligent. I understand that he's intelligent, but I understand he's hate driven, and that's where his mistakes come from in a lot of his conversation. He desires to be right about the black community more than he desires to get the real information. Let's get this off of here. Let's go.
are you saying black people can't have accountability, bro? If you say chimp out, they're gonna hit you. Like, come on, bro. Like, you're perpetuating the stereotypes of everybody says, bro.
No,
oh,
Myron,
are you gonna chimp out and punch them? Like, bro, this is why people are tired of niggas, bro. I gotta
Hold
keep it
on.
1,000.
All right,
This is why people are tired of blacks.
No, but Myron, you
Like,
don't.
they can't have accountability. Imagine a world where saying, "Hey, you gonna chimp out?"
Myron, hold on.
Just punched. What?
Myron, I'm gonna tell you what world that is. The world is, every time I've watched Sneeko, he's like, everybody hold hands, let's come together, let's pray to Allah, this and third. And then I looked over Israel, they put his face on a bomb. Okay? So in the real world, I haven't seen Sneeko do nothing to nobody. But they'll put his face on a bomb and drop it on a city. That's way less than some guy saying a word and getting punched in the face. Yes, when you have words, even if it's not violent, other people meet those words. If they feel what you're saying is violent or disrespectful or offensive, they meet that with violence. Okay? It's not black people. Because let me ask you a question. Do you think what that black guy did to Chud, I didn't know Israel was putting Sneeko's name on bombs. What do you think is worse?
Myron is trying to substantiate a point that look at black people, look at the animals. They fall into what people say. Somebody call you the N-word. Your first mind is to be violent. And his thing is, look, it's black people. And DJ Academics, I'm not gonna give too much of it away. I didn't know DJ Academics got down like this. Like this is some you know, respectable debating skills. You know what I mean? But yeah, Myron's trying to act like everything that everybody says about black people. Look at them. If you say a certain word, they'll be ready to fight or get violent. And he's trying to make it seem like that's only black people who are like that. And this is where, you know what I mean, I applaud DJ Academic because no, it's not just black people. It's not just black people. Burn a flag here in America. What do you mean? But let's go.
So when you say that only black people do that, it looked like other people do it too. I think I could Google it. They put Sneako's name on a bomb, and Sneako I've never seen him physically harm anybody that's Jewish. But you know why? He got the rhetoric that they don't like. It's offensive to them. And in their response to that offense is not by saying, you know what, we're mature. They're saying, put his name on a bomb and let's go kill some people. Let's
put his name on a bomb. Bomb, boom. See, this is what I'm saying. Like, this everybody knows this, of course. Black people's crime and dysfunction is dirtier than white people's crime and dysfunction. The exact same crimes. It's been painted like that. It's been branded like that. That's what America is built on, right? Just think about it. Outside the Huxtables, we haven't even been allowed to have any more television shows where there's civilized black people, because that's not the mission to brand us as a civilized people. There's plenty of black family, Cosby families that they could go recruit right now and throw on a black family television show that was more positive than negative. But that's not the mission, right? Let's go.
True, right?
They put my name on a bomb too.
They think the same about you. That's what I'm saying. So what I'm saying is that you're saying it's only black people that are triggered to violence. Well, what about the Jewish people that you have rhetoric that don't go along with them? They put y'all names on bombs and inflict violence with it. It's not just black people. It's everybody when it comes to offense. People just think that black people are pussy and they should not be able to do anything when they're offended. But when you offend Jewish people...
Hey, listen, man, I'm going to say it again. Shout out to DJ Akademics. I didn't know Act got down like this.
People, your name is a bomb.
Okay, so
right?
let me get this straight. Are you comparing a self-defense case to a geopolitical quagmire in the Middle East?
It doesn't start off as a self-defense case. It starts off as one man trying to have racial division. One man who's trying to offend a whole different race. A whole race of people? Yes. Yes. Hold on. All right, wait. Hear what I'm saying. Sneako is a fucking irrelevant commentator. Why are they putting his name on a bomb? Just like how Chud is an irrelevant streamer. But you know why? Their rhetoric matters that much to the offended people that your name is on a bomb.
Listen, you say something like that about F. Muhammad. Say something like that about F. Muhammad. Like, I can't really say much more because Academic pretty much covered everything. But when black people do a thing, the demonization is magnified by about 5 times more than what everybody... You know, and I'm going to tell you guys something. For those of you who aren't aware why we might be experiencing this, because imagine if you were white America and you knew these people, your ancestors had left journals about these people, what they're capable of doing, this and this and that. And over time, you start reading your own studies and you start finding out that some people refer to them as the tribe of Judah, right? That these are special people, this and that. And let's even go so far as to say you saw amazing things that these people are capable of doing, right? If I were white America, I would find a way to suppress a group of people like that, because if they ever understood all that the world sees that they're capable of, they would actually be hard to deal with. That's why a lot of this money is spent, billions a year, to make sure that African Americans don't advance. Listen, right now, with what African Americans go through in America, they pretend it's not real. I'm talking about me. This is regular. The difference between black and white people is our environment. It is our environment. There's a distinct difference, right? and the things that you might be leery or afraid of and the things they might be leery or afraid. Listen, I'm going to say this. This is one thing I respect about white people, but it comes with a handicap. Listen, if white people get pissed off at the police, they tear stuff up. Get the fuck back in your car right now. Get the fuck out of my face. I respect that. I respect that. But that confidence, a lot of that confidence comes from knowing that it's very unlikely that you'll get popped up by the police due to the privilege of your color. I'm seeing this stuff, people. I'm really seeing this. When black people speak on, maybe I might not even, when I'm noticing it's heavy, it's thick, it's not random. Let me go ahead and play this.
This guy's ready. They put y'all names on bombs and inflict violence with it. It's not just black people. It's everybody when it comes to offense. People just think that black people are pussy and they should not be able to do anything when they're offended. But when you offend Jewish people, your name is a bomb.
Okay, so
right?
let me get this straight. Are you comparing a self-defense case to?
See, this is something that Cooley does a lot. What Myron is doing right now, he's acting like several very valid points weren't just made on his head, right? And he'll do it like this. Hold on, let me get this straight. No, you just got put in a corner. These are very valid circumstances in comparison to what you're suggesting is exclusive to African Americans.
Geopolitical quagmire in the Middle East?
It doesn't start off as a self-defense case. It starts off as one man trying to have racial division. One man who's trying to offend a whole different race. A whole race of people? Yes. Yes. Hold on. All right, wait. Hear what I'm saying. Sneeko is a fucking irrelevant commentator. Why are they putting his name on a bomb? Just like how Chud is an irrelevant streamer. But you know why? Their rhetoric matters that much to the offended people that your name is on a bomb. This guy's rhetoric, Chud, matters that much. That's why you're getting punched in the mouth. Yes, it's the same thing. I get it. You want to say this thing overseas is bigger? Granted, I get it. It just boils down to one self-defense case in this situation. But the point is this. If you picked any group of people that have any self-pride and you pick on them and you target them with racial epithets, if you target them with slurs and you try to offend and oppress them, especially using language, at some point, they're going to slap you in your face, punch you in your mouth, or put a bullet in your forehead. Ask Charlie Kirk.
Amazing points. All amazing points. Now, here's what I want to do. I want to let you guys, this is roughly a little bit over a minute. I want to let you guys go through this before I say my whole piece on it. I'm going to let it play all the way through.
Oh, are you saying black people can't have accountability, bro? If you say chimp out, they're gonna hit you. Like, come on, bro. Like, you're perpetuating the stereotypes of everybody says, bro.
No,
oh,
Myron,
you're gonna chimp out and punch them. Like, bro, this is why people are tired of niggas, bro. I gotta keep it 1,000.
All right,
this is why people are tired of blacks.
No, but Myron, you don't
give it accountability. Imagine a world where saying, "Hey, you gonna chimp out?"
Myron,
just punched. What?
Myron, I'm gonna tell you what world that is. The world is every time I've watched Sneeko, he's like, everybody hold hands, let's come together, let's pray to Allah, this and third. And then I looked over Israel, they put his face on a bomb. Okay, so in the real world, I haven't seen Sneeko do nothing to nobody, but they'll put his face on a bomb and drop it on a city. That's way less than some guy saying a word and getting punched in the face. Yes, when you have words, even if it's not violent, other people meet those words. If they feel what you're saying is violent or disrespectful or offensive, they meet that with violence. Okay, it's not black people, because let me ask you a question. Do you think what that black guy did to Chud, I didn't know Israel was putting Sneeko's name on bombs. What do you think is worse? So when you say that only black people do that, it looks like other people do it too. I think I could Google it. They put Sneeko's name on a bomb, and Sneeko I've never seen him physically harm anybody that's Jewish. But you know why? He got the rhetoric that they don't like. It's offensive to them. And in their response to that offense is not by saying, you know what, we're mature. They're saying, put his name on a bomb and let's go kill some people. That's true, right?
They put my name on a bomb too.
They think the same about you. That's what I'm saying. So what I'm saying is that you're saying it's only black people that are triggered to violence. Well, what about the Jewish people that you have rhetoric that don't go along with them? They put y'all names on bombs and inflict violence with it. It's not just black people. It's everybody when it comes to offense. People just think that black people are pussy and they should not be able to do anything when they're offended. But when you offend Jewish people, your name is on a bomb.
Okay, so
right?
let me get this straight. Are you comparing a self-defense case to a geopolitical quagmire in the Middle East?
It doesn't start off as a self-defense case. It starts off as one man trying to have racial division. One man who's trying to offend a whole different race. A whole race of people. Yes. Yes. Hold on. All right, wait. Hear what I'm saying. Sneeko is a fucking irrelevant commentator. Why are they putting his name on a bomb? Just like how Chud is an irrelevant streamer. But you know why? Their rhetoric matters that much to the offended people that your name is on a bomb. This guy's rhetoric, Chud, matters that much. That's why you're getting punched in the mouth. Yes, it's the same thing. I get it. You want to say this thing overseas is bigger? Granted, I get it. I get it just boils down to one self-defense case in this situation. But the point is this. If you picked any group of people that have any self-pride and you pick on them and you target them with racial epithets, if you target them with slurs and you try to offend and oppress them, especially using language, at some point, they're going to slap you in your face, punch you in your mouth, or put a bullet in your forehead. Ask Charlie Kirk.
And now these are facts. Hey, again, salute to DJ Academics. I didn't know he got down that heavy. Listen, think about it. They're trying to make it seem like, well, blacks are the only group of people who will get violent if you say the N-word. We're supposed to be civilized people in this. No, it's not blacks. Charlie Kirk was saying something and another white person took his life. Why? Because of what he was saying. Listen, do you know what would happen to you in America if you went on a campaign of saying F Muhammad? You'd have reason to watch your back. It's not just black people. But what I am noticing is when black people speak on what our experience is here in America, on my own content, I will see white people say, their racism is only in your head. Blacks have equal rights just as whites. There's no such thing as white privilege. And I'm really trying to figure out, are these people just lying about not knowing what African Americans go through in America? Or are they really full-blown delusional when this thing is right here in everybody's face, even on a violent level? This is actually really interesting to me. It's really interesting to me because it's really interesting to me because I'm stuck between the two. Like, I'm trying to figure out the people who say that, get over slavery and stuff like that and that we have equal chance as anybody else, or the people who just overall act like there is not difficulties. Publicly, there is not difficulties associated with being black in America on just a lifestyle level. Even if it's nothing but from being intentionally made to feel uncomfortable. People just freely walking up to you and calling you a racial epithet for no reason. Yeah, it's not. I'm convinced. Listen, I'm convinced that they can't really be ignorant to what it is like to live as an African American in America, because at this point it's becoming impossible to ignore. It's becoming impossible to ignore. There's a woman. Damn it, what is her? I can't believe I don't have the clip. I can't believe I don't. Well, anyway, she's trying to be the next Charlie Kirk, right? She goes to black events and things like that, right? She'll go to black events where they're even probably doing something about LGBT related, right? But she'll go and she'll do the exact same thing that Charlie Kirk was doing, right? Went to a black event just to start trouble. Now, I want you guys to think about that for a second. She's comfortable with being inside a peaceful black event, disturbing it for no reason. And what it reminds me of is something historically deeper. It reminds me of when we were released from slavery, where our ancestors were released from slavery, and we went off on our own to start our own communities. White Americans followed us, came looking for us, and destroyed our communities nationwide. Some people are going to be uncomfortable hearing things like this. But history is history. You don't find it really strange that Donald Trump had the Smithsonian and to publicly put a system in place to erase a specific group of people's history? So a lot of you probably didn't pay attention to it like you should have. But what that means is our grandkids and great grandkids, they won't have things like the Smithsonian. They won't even have accurate information. Without history, without it being in books, what they're trying to get rid of, without all this stuff being documented, statues and things like that, there won't be anything around them to teach them what they come from. What other, imagine them trying to do that to the Jewish community, but they wouldn't even try that. They wouldn't even try something like that. Historic black slave museums and things like that ordered shut down. And he says because he doesn't want their grandkids and their grandkids and great grandkids to look at America like it's a bad country. Well, that's basically admitting that you believe based on what you know has taken place here. In your eyes, it must meet the criteria for a bad country. It is definitely not the same being black in America and being, well, pretty much anything else. Blacks are constantly attacked, even on social media. Listen, this is what I was getting to. Some people are going to get uncomfortable. Think about this, but let's go here. Black Wall Street, Rosewood, right? Entire successful black communities targeted, burned down, and destroyed. And listen, when you look at all social media today, honestly, it feels like a digital version of the exact same thing. That's what I'm noticing. That's what I'm noticing. Look around on social media. Now, I want to ask everybody, is it me? Now, I know I have a few white supporters who like the relationship and lifestyle knowledge, right? But here's what has happened. It's become so hard to tell the two. That's why I'm going to make the whole page just people who aren't African American on the Facebook. If they don't have a membership, I'm just going to ban it on my page, saying openly racist things on my page, using my content, maybe of something crazy black women or black men or somebody's doing, using my content, which I have designed to be an example of some of the things we're doing, with a follow-up video of why we shouldn't do it, where it'll get us if we keep doing it. But I've come to understand there's a significant amount of white people who use my content to fuel their anger and hatred towards black people. I would have never guessed on Instagram. I guarantee I got about 15,000. If you would have asked me how many white people you think I would have on social media, on Instagram, out of what, I think I got 130,000 now. If someone were to ask me how many white followers I think I have on Instagram, I probably would say 300. That's what I would think, because my channel is 90% holding Black America accountable. But I got to see something for myself with my own eyes. And it's not 300. It's around 15,000. What I have come to understand, I watched this young lady do it. Me and her, we were, she respect my content. She has content similar to mine. But I think she veered off some time ago and went probably to, in my opinion, I refer to it as a darker place. Like well, regardless, she started putting out content like mine where she was reacting to some poor black people's behavior, right? And, when she started putting those out, I saw her numbers shooting through the roof like mine's did when one of my videos got 3 million. And because I was already informed on this, I was told, watch, bro, go look at those new followers. Watch them be white. And they are. I was just scrolling through all of her new followers. They're white. Listen. And you know what? This is actually a cool time to say this. I have white supporters too, I think, probably. And I want you to listen to me when I say this. If you've been listening for any amount of time here, I want you to think about how difficult it is for African Americans to know which whites they can trust and which ones they can't, which ones are their friends or are here for genuine reasons or which ones are not. That has been one of the toughest things for Black people to struggle with. Everything that has happened to us in America has suggested, no, don't trust them. Everything that, like everything. We have been shown more that our country hates us than we have our country loves us. And when you understand that you have that type of relationship where you're being tolerated and used for gifts and talents and things like that, right? When you understand that, when you have that knowledge, that that's the relationship that you have, you can see everything clearly without, it is so painful, sometimes uncomfortable and unpleasant being Black in America. Where do you think what some people refer to as our sellouts, where do you think they come from? Where do you think they come from? I could name some right now, but I won't do it because I don't even speak their names. When you will dog Black people out and say all manner of bad, terrible things about Black people, whole while ignoring what the atrocities that other races are committing, primarily the one that you're trying to take up for. I've never understood this. When 85% of the child pornography in America is coming from the white community. Listen, when around 99% of the people who are popping those churches up and popping those schools up, going in there, taking these kids' lives while they're reading or while they're worshiping God, I would almost assuredly think that needs to get addressed. High time. Before you come over here talking about, and look at them, how they stealing at Dollar General. And that's what I told you. White people's sins and Black people's sins are different. They're different. The atrocities that white people commit, like touching children and things like that, they have the law set to where you can't get big time for that, right? Because the most powerful men in America partake in that, right? So they've engineered it to where if they were to get busted or something like that, they could get leniency. Meanwhile, Black people have been getting caught with something the size of a BB for a BB gun and getting sentenced to 35 years for it, even though no violence or anything. There was no victim. for 40 years. For 40 years. And listen, I want to say this. I think that it is important for white people to know this too. Even knowing that things like that there's an unevenness with your race and other races is traumatizing by itself. I have a cousin right now. I could call him right now. Homeowner. Amazing dad. I can call him right now and I'll say, family, if they come to you right now and drop you 2 Class A's, which both carry 50 years apiece, right? If they come arrest you and charge you with 2 Class A felonies and tell you sometime 3 years ago you was selling substances to this individual and you can't recall where you was at that particular day, I asked him, I said, if they offered you a 3-year plea bargain, would you take it? He said, hell yeah. That's the life that Black people live. We know if we don't take that 3 years, you'll get 50. You'll get 50. Listen, myself, the times that I was in trouble, the things that I saw to men who had victimless crimes, the things that I saw done to them when I was on my spree in the streets, I said, how can anybody do this to another human being for a victimless crime? Listen, even on my own channel, like just right now while we're live talking about the things that African Americans go through in America, on my own channel, I get some of my white subscribers. They'll say, "You just lost a follower. Oh, I liked it better when he was talking about." You guys probably saw it day before yesterday. Black people have had something really, 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 really terrible done to them. And in the place that they live, they're not allowed to speak on what was done to them. Black people have had experiments ran on them. Being black in America is walking on eggshells. And you can say that this is 2026 or whatever you want, but they have conducted studies to where more blacks get pulled over in certain states. More blacks get pulled over in the daytime than they do at nighttime. What do you think that means? Right? Racial profiling. In the daytime, you can see through people's car windows easier. And if they're black, they're getting pulled over. There was a state senator that got pulled over in front of Capitol Hill. And then we've seen the things about the judges. I don't have an issue with anybody getting pulled over, but I think your intentions should be the exact same as what your intentions would be if you were pulling over a 65-year-old white man. I'm really coming to a place where I really want to interview about 5 white people. I want to see, is this thing real? Do you really believe we don't go through anything? Think about it. Look around social media. I don't know. Is it me? And I've been wanting to ask this. Or have white Americans integrated themselves into private conversations that black people will be having online? I saw some stuff and I was been like, that person didn't know that it wasn't their place to speak on that? We'll have posts up condemning black women's behavior, and the white people will get in those comments and voice their opinions. And now listen, give me a thumbs up if that's mind blowing to you too. And if I'm over exaggerating, give me a thumbs down. When I figured that out, I was tripping. Like, no, even on my own post, we will be condemning black people's behavior and telling them we have to do better and da-da-da. And you will see white people down there in the comments engaging in it, like chastising us with us. For real. I don't know what that meant. I don't know what that meant. This, you know what? I really do want to have a genuine conversation, because most people who are seeming so bothered by African Americans, you don't typically have to worry about African Americans. African Americans typically hurt each other, right? But it's something to channel the hatred that you already have inside of you out. The hatred is no good if you can't do anything with it, right? So that's why Scarface said in the movie Scarface, you need people like me. You need me so you can point your finger and hold your nose up in the air. That's what black people are. Black people are the scapegoats of America. When something is going on in politics, that the government needs everybody to not see or look the other way to, something typically happens in the black community. Something typically happens in the black community. I think it's insane that white America chooses to fake like they don't believe us when we speak about what our experience in America is. But see, the problem that I have is, are they intentionally doing that? Or I just can't. This stuff is visible. It's in the streets. I have not been able to figure out when you have to pop somebody 10 times. That's what happens when black people get popped up by the police. 2 won't do. Whatever happened to the leg shots? What happened to the leg shots? Incapacitate a person. And I think that's why black people have such a hard time being okay with people minimizing what our experience is. Because, see, what you don't understand is you guys talk about, listen to me when I say this, you guys talk about the number of blacks that get popped up by police, but here's what everybody's missing. You're missing how it affects the masses of black people when we see one of us get done like that. It is traumatizing. It is nothing more than an evidence of what could happen to us at any given time. Well, not us, but, I don't believe in letting people walk over you. I just leave it like that. And it doesn't matter who they are. I don't believe in you letting people put their hands on your kids. It doesn't matter who they are. I believe your duty as fathers, when you decide to have a child, you should not have that child if you have not already psychologically committed to being willing to trade your life for that child and protect that child's life from anybody. Doesn't matter who. Doesn't matter who. Listen, I'm going to say some things tonight. But I don't know. I just wanted to know, was anybody else seeing that? It's regular. You can go to some of my posts. And you guys know that I say this often. I'm going to salute to the African American community again, because we do hold ourselves accountable. I believe the African American community is, from what I see, the only community that is openly holding its people accountable for the wrongs that they do all over social media. All over social media. Pages like mine, pages like the late, great Kevin Samuels. There's just so many people. We definitely are in each other's face, and I gotta salute them. We are definitely in each other's face, calling our wrongs wrongs. Right? Nobody else is doing that. Nobody else is doing that. Even though so many more gregarious things are taking place behind the sheds in other communities. And that's what I think African Americans have a problem being able to comprehend. There are atrocities, listen, there are atrocities taking place that really need some priority attention focused on it in other communities. When it is common for these kids to get touched up like that, and we know who's doing it, I want to help people of other races understand this about black people too. When we see things like your president get convicted of 10 or 15 felonies and then they muscle away, like, I think black people pay attention to things more than every other race does, because when things fall down around us, it always impacts the African American community worse than it impacts everybody else's community. If somebody punches America in the stomach, it'll almost knock black people out. Whereas some people, it'll jolt them a little bit, because we have no foundation. We don't have any unity. We don't have a system. So we're already a scattered out people lacking communication from one another. So when something terrible happens, how would you expect a scattered group of people to respond? There's not going to be nobody helping nobody and things like that. So we take a lot of things more, and plus because we're the poorest people pretty much, right? uh, we take things differently than other people take them because so many things have been weaponized against us. We look at it funny if a new company is emerging on IPO, right? We try to figure out because listen, let's be honest. I've done shows about this. I've done shows about this. As powerful as I myself have proven AI to be, you guys would have to be crazy that AI is not going to be used to destroy a portion of African American community. It's that powerful, right? We know every other thing, every other advancement that we've witnessed in America. A lot of these advancements, institutions, they've been utilized to dismantle certain areas of the black community. So we are aware that when things get built, we have to be a little bit less optimistic about it and, do a little bit of research on things. Because for some reason, and everybody knows this, we are always under, and I want people to know this too. Most black people do not live a life of peace to where you're just walking around not really worried about anything. I think most black people know who they are and what's going on with them as a black person. But like I was saying, listen, like I was saying, it's so, now my life is amazing. I'm being honest with you. I forget who that was talking about only people who are not successful and were never able to do anything with their life talk about racism. No. You have black billionaires who constantly speak on it. So what does that do for their victim mentality? And can they have a victim mentality if they've amassed billions of dollars? No. How come it can't be that a lot of these people are saying the same thing? I just really, I'm you guys are going to see, I'm going to get an interview going. I want about 3 white people. I really want to know, like, and for those of you who don't know what sparked this conversation, like, I've been seeing in my comments, whenever I put up a video, listen, hundreds of videos a year get posted up of me condemning African American people's behavior. Every single day, 365 days a year. And I get thumbs up and a lot of comments from blacks and whites. But the moment I put up something that doesn't paint the white community in such an amazing light, there are people in my comments saying things like, yeah, bro, this ain't it. I liked it better when you was speaking on relationships and things like that. Some people, listen, so I've been called monkey, the hard R on my platform. See, and this lets me know that no, I don't, this is one thing that I don't have the answer to. Like, I want to know, have these people really fooled themselves into believing that black people aren't going through what they say they're going through? Again, you have a very famous white person who's walking around the nation, walking up to innocent blacks and calling them nigger for no reason. What was that? Was that the Oscar Awards? I think that was where Michael B. Jordan got his Oscar, right? Someone with Tourette's syndrome, nigger. Right. I think this is a good conversation because if there are some people who really don't know, and of course you don't know what it feels like to be black, but you really don't know to what extent, listen, when teen girls are arrested those black girls are going to get treated worse than they were if they were white girls. They're not going to get thrown on things. And granted, like a lot of our black women come from rugged backgrounds, so they're in some cases they're going to be like, uncooperative and things like that. But my thing is, what happened to the leg poppings? And for some of you who heard me speak on that a few minutes ago, it's because I just saw something. They hit this black guy 10 times. I just saw something before I logged on tonight. Where's it at? Dewan something. Look it up. Was handcuffed and they got video. They popped him in the back of the head. Police. And I want people who are not black, who are watching this right now, to know. Whereas you may not see 600,000 African Americans getting mowed down by police at once, you need to understand how it affects black people when we see somebody who looks like us get treated that savagely by the people who are supposed to protect everybody. Police officers are taking black people out like sport. And I'm seeing, when I see some of these, like I can't even pull it up on the phone right now. I wish I could. When I see some of these things, I ask myself, what type of human being could do that? Pop an elderly guy who has a knife before the cop came. Some of you know what I'm talking about. I agree, Council of State, I agree. Listen, there was already 5 cops there. They were working with the older guy, probably about 60 years old, probably had mental issues. He walked with a hobble. Very, very, very slow like a turtle. And he walking towards the police. They're saying, put the gun down, put it down, put it down. And they're saying this to him for 5 minutes. One white cop speeds up, walks into the whole situation, says stop very abruptly, and gets right to business. I popped that guy like 7 times. Now, what black people feel when they see that, we feel like we are viewed as cattle here. He was one of us. He really was. We have grand uncles who had his same behavior. Used to get drunk at the family reunions and roll some of the nephews on the ground and tickle on them and stuff like that. That's how we feel when we see that. I think some people say to themselves, well, the blacks just complain about that. That happened all the way in North Carolina. Why they acting? No, we feel that when we see it nationwide. We are connected. What happens to one of us publicly allows us to get a glimpse of what's happening with us. I don't know. You guys are going to probably see this in the next few days. I'm going to get me a panel of about 3 or 4 whites up here, and I want to have this conversation. Because I think it's offensive for white people to get offensive when we speak on the things that we go through. It is offensive for you to get offended. There's billionaires who are black who are complaining. LeBron James is worth hundreds of millions of dollars. They came out here to California and spray painted nigger on his front gate. And no rest. Listen, she said, same like how you degrade black women and you are supposed to protect us. Listen to what you just said, man. Am I degrading black women or am I telling the truth and holding them accountable? Right. But I don't expect you to understand that. They literally have a coined slogan. Accountability is especially black women's kryptonite. So there's nothing. Listen, you guys don't obey Jesus. So we don't believe that most of you, our talking does any good. Okay, let's do it like this. Oh, she's on Facebook. She said, "You are sick, brother." And I'm going to tell you what makes African American women look sick. I'm going to tell you what makes you guys look sick. It's just like what we're saying. And I said this earlier. I said, when I see that white people get delusional a lot, when you see black people speaking on what their experiences in here in America and how they're treated, the only time I have other witnessed that degree of adult delusion is when we're talking to the women. And that's what I'm saying to you, Jody. Listen, the thing is this. What's really, really sick is everybody knows you're never going to hear a conversation that I'm having where I'm very, very far off base. That's never going to happen, right? I'm usually pretty close within the barometer of logic. So what's really sick is the fact that you can't hear me on all of these clips that I have, that you can't hear me saying certain things that we all know meet the bar of logic, but you're receiving it a different way. That's a you problem. Most of the world agrees more with me than they'll agree with you saying that I'm degrading. Most of the world will agree more with me than they would you. Check this out. Shut your damn mouth, man. You sound stupid. Typical black woman. And see, that's what I'm saying. You guys don't even know. You make this thing so easy for us. It's insane. Everything that I'm up here saying right now, you're proving. Look, now she's acting like a kid. You are a wannabe Kevin Samuels. I've seen your videos, and you're degrading your own woman. You motherfuckers don't belong to us. Are you stupid? What do you mean, our own women? You guys wish voodoo on us. Are you insane? You belong to all of the people who you allowed to impregnate you. That's who you belong to. You belong to the people who pay your rent and who buy your groceries, Uncle Sam. We have not looked at the. Is that what you think? You think black women are black men's women? If you look around and you look at the Asian community and you look at their women, you'll see they look like a group of women who belong to Asian men. If you look around in the Latino community, you'll see a group of women who look like they belong to that group of men. If you look at the African American community, we have women saying independent woman. I don't need no man. But when it's convenient for you, you want to refer yourselves as our women. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. She said, shut up, like a kid. Hey, listen, check this out. Shout out to Legend Gaming. My cousin said this about my content before. He said this exact same thing. She is speaking out of her emotion because she or someone close to her lives life like the way I condemn. 100%. My cousin pulled me to the side and told me that. I couldn't believe. I'm like, we all got eyeballs now, right? The same way I'm telling the white community, y'all acting like y'all don't see what black people have to go through here. I'm telling these black women, how aren't you understanding that what I'm saying is pretty much spot on? What am I saying that's a lie? What? She said, what does your mother think about you? My mother is probably a 98% chance she's down in the comments right now. My mother had more than one child multiple children by multiple men. She condemns it today. Right? My mother stands on probably 90% of my principles. If that, however that helped you out. Why are you mad about the other? She said, good night, idiot. Just promise me that you'll come back and see us. Come back, Nikki. Come back. There she goes. My girl in the building. Salute, baby girl. Salute. But listen, I have been struggling with that lately because I've been seeing it. In my own comments, I'm seeing people be racist on my own posts. They'll even comment and voice their opinions when it's obviously a personal conversation amongst black people. And see, the point that I'm trying to establish is this. As bad as white people talk, Nick Fuentes, all of that, as bad as white people talk about us and say we are this, we are that, and how we're unbearable to be around, things like that, it's always you who comes looking for us. Have you ever thought about that? As bad as black people are talked about by a lot of white people, have you ever noticed you come looking for us? After slavery, we broke off and went to build our own communities, weren't bothering anybody. You came looking for us and burnt these communities down all over America. Social media. It's always you coming and looking for us. And I'm starting to wonder, like, why? That's the part that I can't stop noticing. You don't ever see black people on social media where white men and women are having conversations pertinent to white America and black people insert themselves into that conversation. You will rarely see that. I think anybody who even sees something like that, that should be weird to you. If we're up here talking about this sister who got her baby out at the club late at night, think about this. I want you to look at it for what it really is. Look at it for what it really is. Imagine you and 3 other black people standing in front of a 7-Eleven talking about something crazy that black people do and need to stop doing. And a white person walks up and says, I've been saying it for the longest. I've been saying it for the longest. This is how real it is. I'm telling you about comments that I've read today. And I think, you know what I mean? It's just getting so, how can I have racism taking place on my platforms? And that's what I said on Facebook. On Facebook, I'm going to go ahead and if a person's not a member, if a person is not African American, and those who do, people who are non-African American, and you really do come to the content to learn something or gain some type of nothing but respect. But this is also a moment where you get to understand how difficult it is for black people to know which Caucasians in America are good to trust, are good to be friends with, and things like that. It is so difficult. It is so difficult. I never knew that I had so many white people following me on Instagram until I made that post expressing I don't believe Charlie Kirk should have died, but I didn't agree with many of his beliefs. I started getting called the hard R in my own platform. I liked you better when you were talking about the relationships. I like it better when you were talking about, it's like what's the name told LeBron James, shut up and dribble. The rest of your life doesn't matter. I want from you what I want from you. And see, that's the entitlement and the arrogance that I keep telling you guys is associated with white privilege. Shout out to Miss Monica down there rocking out with us. Listen, there's a goofball who she did say it, but she said, I believe black people have made poverty look so well till it almost look cool. Like our circumstances, like even our schools getting lower government funding than other schools, like the things that are done to us that are designed to break us as a community, it causes our environments to look really effed up, right? We're coming out barely being able to read, a person who can, like, there's a lot of damage going on in the black community. And I think that the reason that most white people won't acknowledge how blacks are treated in America is because if they did, they would be forced. They would be forced to respect black people at a higher level for even have surviving what we've been through and what we still have to go through. I was so disappointed. I was so disappointed that Charlie Kirk used to get away with that, going to these college students and name something that a white person can do that a black person couldn't do. And I was so disappointed that, like, it was more of a manipulation tactic, and putting people on the spot, because we all know everybody right now can just flow off of the tongue fluently. I can't go in the courtroom for the same crime as you with the same criminal background as you and get the same outcome. Right? I can't be as free. I can't be as free when driving on the highway next to police as you can. You are more certain that you're almost certain. Check this out. When black people and white people are on the highway and police are in proximity, there are two different degrees of certainty. The white person is almost certain he's not getting pulled over. The black person is almost certain he's getting pulled over. It just really used to bother me that Charlie Kirk used to get away with that. But, when you spring that on somebody, if they're not equipped to, be speaking in front of people, there's a lot of nervousness taking place too. But I mean, like, everybody knows we can't even buy, till you reach a certain status, if you're black, you can't even buy a house, get a house loan at the same interest rate that white people can. Even when you're selling your houses, you have difficulty. You lose out on hundreds of thousands of dollars just being black sometimes. And it's crazy because the reason we think it's crazy that people try to act like what we're saying isn't true is because white journalists and multi-billion-dollar media companies are the ones that do the reporting on it, like the bank in Atlanta. This is a true-to-life lived experience. The truth of the matter is, African Americans know that they are not equal to white people in America. I'll use one of Charlie Kirk's tactics. I would welcome any African American to substantiate to me that they are equal to white people in America. Any African American. Think about it. Look, we see, when I see cops on the highway, I'm staring at them in my rear view to see if they're going to turn the lights out on. That's the black lived experience. It's real. But I'm going to play devil's advocate for a second. We are the salt of the earth. We are very noticeable. We are very identifiable. We are very distinct. We are a custom module. And there's special things about us. Our features are different. It causes us to stand out probably 3 times more than any other race. There is an intrigue about us. We stick out. Think about this. When you guys were in high school, and hopefully none of my white supporters are viewing this as any type of racist conversation. Hopefully you see this as an opportunity to learn. Coming from the horse's mouth. This is a really, really dope opportunity to really get that information that people don't push out there, right? Geez, what was I going to say? But yeah, we don't even expect the same things that white people. If there's a black person out there, I would love for them to prove to me how blacks are equal to whites. We were raised to know better than to put your hands on a white person. We know the consequences are heavier. The courtrooms have branded our skin color to be viewed as guilty. How can we live in a first world country that has been said to be the greatest country on earth and so many black people each year get arrested and sent to prison for crimes they didn't commit? What is the conviction overturn rate amongst blacks? I think it's like 35%. That's a lot of people wrongfully accused, which we know we're just saying wrongfully accused. It's difficult being black in America. This is what I'm saying. I think people don't understand what we mean when we say in white privilege and things like that. It's the entitlement. I'm telling you that we have posts online right now where we will be holding a black woman accountable for raising her kids badly or something like that. And white people will insert themselves in that conversation. Now, I don't know. I can't be the only person that's weird to. Like, I go to their profile picture. I'm like, what the? See, because I know, and because I was raised better, I've always known that there's a high likelihood that is not my business what they're talking. My grandmother used to chastise us about little certain things like that. Inserting yourself in grown folks' conversations. They have company over. You sitting in there listening to grown people talk. You guys know what I'm talking about. Our grandparents didn't play that stuff. Some of your moms didn't play it. There were things passed down to us that just inherently we know. Like, there's a reason that you haven't seen a whole ton of white people having what appears to be a personal conversation pertaining to white community business, and black people showed up at that post and inserted themselves in the comments. You can't even picture that in your head right now. You rarely see something like that. But somehow, whenever black people are discussing black issues, here they come. And I think that's what a lot of black people are starting to notice now. It's like there's this strange obsession with monitoring black conversations and things, watching black spaces, entering black spaces, correcting black people on black people's experiences. I'm telling you, I'm at a space where I don't know if they're being serious or I don't know if they're intentionally lying and avoiding acknowledging what black people go through, because I don't know. This stuff is in the open. This stuff there's no blanket over this stuff. Prime ministers from other countries have addressed how blacks get treated over here. And I think the premise is this. The premise is, well, you should be grateful that you guys are over here living a better life than that's the premise. Don't worry about the bad treatment that you receive. Just know it could be worse. That's the premise. Don't worry if you're experiencing racism on a regular around here. Nobody's popped you, right? Basically, black people shut up. I'm telling you, I have just recently noticed. I think it would be different if we were. I know it would be different if we were talking about sports. if we were talking about anything that wasn't a sensitive issue, it's something that is very clearly private amongst personal amongst African Americans. I can't imagine what type of mind frame I would have to be in to go to some of those Asian community spaces online and insert myself and jump in their conversations. That's crazy. Correcting them on their behavior, right? And then pretending like we're crazy for noticing it. And for those of you who are not aware, it's super weird times 10 when black people will be on a post condemning black people's behavior, black men and black women's behavior, and we see a white man or a woman down in the comments saying, see, I speak on this all of the time, or that's exactly what I said, this black fatigue. I saw that today. What's going on in you to where that's what you have to do? Go to black people's posts and offer input on the things that they're doing wrong. Again, to us, that's super weird times 10. Because the question becomes, don't you feel a little out of place right here, right now? Why are you emotionally invested in a conversation of this magnitude that does not pertain to you? Especially when the same people claim they don't care about black people. That's the contradiction. That's what doesn't add up. You say we're lazy, we're violent. You say we're the problem, but somehow you're always in our spaces. And here's what it is. Black people are the life in America. If you disagree, imagine life without black people. There would be a lot of people growing old in their houses. Black culture is the engine behind America. Anybody can come up if you think you can prove me wrong. Anybody can come up. By white America's statistics, African American culture is the most influential culture on the entire planet. And this is what I've come to understand. A lot of this is similar to how we have to deal with the women sometimes when it's right. Sometimes when we're talking to our women, it's almost like we have to gear ourselves to be able to have a conversation with a kid. That's why we're experiencing this right now. Because whereas you would think somebody should know better than injecting themselves in certain personal matters, right? It's the entitlement. It's the entitlement of white privilege. Do you think a person wouldn't do that if they thought they weren't entitled to do it? No, you do it because you feel as though you are entitled to do it when it's crazy to everybody else. And I've said this for a long time. African Americans are looked to keep America alive. Even the people, the older white men who you see on social media spewing racial rhetoric. Imagine if there were no black people in America. Who would you blame your hate? How would you project your hate out then? Because that's what black people are. Black people are used as the scapegoat for everybody to point a finger at. People say we are the problem, but somehow you find your way to our spaces, always watching us, always commenting, always monitoring. If you don't believe what I'm saying, look around at Clavicular. Look around at all of these new streamers. They have found out that if they don't attach themselves to black people or black culture in one way or another, they won't be able to blow. Their channels won't blow up or anything. Why do you think Clavicular and them are running around saying the N-word and things like that? Black people are what's happening in America. And how you blow up, look at all of the black girls on TikTok who have gotten dances stolen from them by white girls. Look at how people right now, they call it grifting. Right now, if you want your channel to blow up, all you have to do is get a channel and start talking about black people. Now I'm a content creator, so I don't know how many of you know that that's a thing, but that's a real thing. If you say the hard R, look at Chud the Builder. Do you know how many pages on Instagram and on Twitter are dedicated to just saying things like black people should be erased? And I said this, about 60% of these people, if they could not do any of their content and associate it with black people or black culture in any way at all, their analytics would fall through the floor. They wouldn't even be able to continue having the show, because the truth of the matter is, black people are what's interesting in America. Anybody, there's 4 platforms fired up right now. Anybody can come up and, if you disagree with me, come up here and substantiate your point. This is not something that's hidden. This is very visible. You wouldn't know Chud the Builder without him establishing his connection to the black community. You wouldn't know him. You wouldn't know him. What other talents does he have? Okay, you could say the hard R. Okay. And listen, this is what I'm telling you guys. Black people don't see, you guys know I don't give a damn. But black people don't even get to talk like this often. And that's why some of my supporters are so down with me, because they know that I'll say the things that really matter. That's why a lot of listen, if any of my white supporters on here right now, I guarantee you this is the first time you've heard a conversation this in depth about our experience here. Because black people get shunned if they even bring up the slightest complaint about something that has happened to them as a result of being black in America. On my own page. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. Unfollow. I liked it better when you were talking about the black jizzaboos. And see, that's what makes it so tough for black people to ever be able to really trust white people. It makes it so tough. Life is unfair. I was about to say I think it's unfair, but life is unfair. Like, black people me, myself, there's somebody like out here right now. The person who has done more for me than pretty much anybody is a white man, right? But see, that was my experience with him. As far as a black person just getting to know white people online or anything like that, history says it would actually be stupid to go into that friendship with blind faith? Do you know how many people rod for me when I'm regularly pushing out the regular content? Then the moment I say something about white supremacy or something like that, the white people who had been following me and liking my content, all of a sudden I'm a nigger. All of a sudden a monkey. Go back to talking about what you see what I'm saying? And that's what, listen, I think that would be one of the most difficult challenges in America. Like, I've done shows that say that for the most part, except for extreme circumstances, and listen, I had some AI to help me with the research to this. For the most part, from traditional terms as friends, blacks and whites cannot truly be friends and meet the definition of friends. I had help with AI to do the research. Because one thing that is required for people to be friends, because one thing that is required for people to be friends is empathy. The things that you go through, I need to be able to dig deep down inside of me and find a way to feel for your loss of whatever kind that you took. Feel for whatever complaint that you have right now, whatever you say you're going through. But see, black people don't get that luxury, because when we bring up even the slightest complaint about what we experience here, you see it. White people say, that's that victim mentality. You're never going to win. No, I'm telling you what just happened in real time. This stuff isn't make-believe. I'm going to say it again. You guys have a white man walking around the nation, running up to innocent people, calling them nigger. And you telling me you think we're making up what we say our experience here is? That's crazy. I think it's actually a disrespect to all that black people go through for you to pretend like they're exaggerating or something. And here's the crazy part. If you really don't know what black people go through being black in America, that requires some deeper level of therapy or something. Again, Michael B. Jordan, just first nomination for an Oscar. And even there, black people were not protected or free from racism. Some guy supposedly with Tourette's syndrome, and nigger, at the Oscars. I'm going to do it. You guys are going to see it probably this week is over, but I'm going to do that. I want to know if people are really aware of what black people deal with being black in America. There's trauma even associated with knowing, having the knowledge that if I go into we all, true or false, we all make mistakes. All of us. Why do my mistakes come with heavier penalties than white people's? If I fall asleep at the wheel, it's different than a white person falling asleep at the wheel. How are my mistakes in life heavier than white people's? Heavier than everybody's, because it boils down to black and white. That's where the nemesis is. The reason that I say that is because by way of black people being the number one nemesis, it allots other races of people protections from white America, because white America is always focused on the black race. And in order to be as focused on the black race, you have to side with other races when they take up issue with black people. Do you know how dope, listen. Do you know how dope life would be if black people, if we could live a life thinking that we got second chances? That would be a lot of stress. There's just certain things that we are taught, do not do. because we know we don't get a lot of second chances. Jody said the racism is really out of hand. It's really the worst I've ever seen, and it is bad. It is bad. It's visible, and that's why I think black people take offense when white people say "stop the victim mentality." Like, no, mother effer, did you see what just happened to me? That ain't. I I just really want. I just want about 3 or 4 white people to tell me what they. I want them to give me what they think their description of being black in America is, because it's tough. Again, LeBron James has hundreds of millions of dollars. Out here in California, they spray painted nigger on his gate to his estate. Some people like to say it's classism, right? It's rich and poor. No, it's not. Black people who are multi-billionaires here in America, they are not the same as a multi-billionaire who is white. They're not. Monica said it. We suffer the burden of our ancestors and we carry it in our DNA. Yeah, it's bad. She said it's bad. Like, it's to the point where African Americans walk on eggshells in America. Because some of the things, listen, whereas you would say, of course you don't see blacks are taking each other's lives more than police are taking each other's lives. But have you ever, guys, I'm going to try this. Let me see something. Dang it, where's it at? Dang. I wish I had uploaded it. Let me try real quick. Dang, it's not on that phone, it's on this one. But yeah, listen, listen, how many of you guys have saw the thing that this was recent? Like a black man and a black man got into it in the store. It started outside the store and it ended up going in. Inside the store, I think there's a cop, plain clothes, right? And then the black dude tell the other black dudes, nigga, because I do da-da-da. And he brandished a firearm, right? Then he turned around and started walking out the store. The cop in the store followed him outside and took his life. Listen, I want the white people who are watching, I want you to understand this. Do you know what it's like for the entire world to see a true factual crime take place where a cop in cold blood murders a black man or a black woman and they get off? Do you guys know what it was like? They beat the dogs. Rodney King, that was like the most brutal act we had seen. And they got off. There was video. Have you ever thought about what that does to black people to see atrocities happen to them? Listen, even when cops take black people's life, they don't even get fired from the job. They get paid leave. You know what that would do to a group of people who have already internalized that is possible when it comes to them? A lot of the things you see in African American people, yes, we're messed up. Why wouldn't we be? Look what has been done to us and is still done. We are supposed to be messed up. We've been experimented on. It is no secret. It's no secret. There's a racist guy who he didn't have to tell me, I already knew, but he said, okay, all of the crime that they're doing. Okay, crack was dropped in their neighborhood. Okay, the CIA is weaponizing music against their kids. Those are 2 atom bombs. Do you know what this music is doing to our youth before they even start developing? Where are the positive black rappers at? D1. They won't give D1 a record deal because he's going to speak that uplifting stuff to black people. Look at the girl. Look, they're targeting African American women to be the next rappers now because women are more influential than men, and it's cult like. Sexy Red has a lip gloss line that's named after STDs, gonorrhea green, and things like this. Now, if you were a really integrable brand as the record label, you wouldn't even be allowing people to do that. Look how they hyped Tupac and Biggie to take each other out. They promoted the West Coast, East Coast thing. If you were a person or an establishment of integrity, you would get in between two rappers when you see it really heating up, and you would tell them, just like in the other places, somebody's about to lose their job. And Tupac and Biggie could be here right now. But instead, they capitalized off of it and heated it up, fanned the fire. Look at all that black people know is being done to us in detail. You think we're supposed to be okay? Listen, we are going to suffer from the after effects of the crack epidemic for another 50 years. That's how vicious that thing was. That thing came through and I watched it snatch people's souls. They were not the same sweet, hey, Miss Robinson. No, Miss Robinson's giving head now, and that woman's 50 or 60 years old. We used to all respect her. And then they say, get over it. When the attacks have not stopped. And just from what you guys have been hearing me say, the time that you've been here, I think we all know that I can't be making this up because I'm speaking it too fluently. You think I'm making this stuff up on the whim? No, this is black people's lived experience. And I'm going to tell you something. In case you're somebody who does it or has done it, it's very offensive to black people. Well, I guess that's probably the goal, but it's very offensive to black people when you minimize something that is major to them. Somebody expressing something that they're going through, and you tell them if you did it, they can do it. No, the playing field's not the same. They can do it, but it's going to take significantly more. And listen, to me, I think this whole thing that we're talking about is part of white privilege. The feeling entitled to anything in your path. Feeling entitled to black spaces, black conversations, black culture, black energy, black attention. Even black pain to exploit it. And some people are going to get offended hearing that. Some people are going to get offended hearing that. I understand that. It's because you're getting new information. Hopefully this information is not new to you, because we hear some white people talk about it, and salute to them, you know what I mean? I'm talking about what black people are observing in real time. And again, to my Caucasian subscribers, who I noticed get offended every time I speak on black people, how black people are treated in America, even though for the life of me, you pretend that you don't agree or you don't believe us when we bring up how we're treated in America, there is something that I really want white people to respond to, honestly, not emotionally, honestly. Are you dead serious when you say black and white people have equal rights in America? When you say that there's no such thing as racism? When you allude that black people aren't really going through what they're saying they're going through? I want to know, do you really believe it? When blacks speak on how they're treated, you tell them just get over it and stop crying. Are you really saying that you don't believe that black people are treated the way that they say they are? When it's being done in the public eye. That's the part that I don't understand. This is not being hidden. There are no resources going towards hiding this. These things are being done openly. There's an institution that just got busted for secretly funneling millions of dollars of proceeds from the government that was supposed to go towards thwarting racism in America. They were giving it to the Ku Klux Klan now and funding them. And this is fresh. This is not a month old. Their excuse for why they were giving Ku Klux Klan and Nazi groups millions of government funds, they said that they were implementing informants inside those groups for millions of dollars. For the white Americans who say we're exaggerating when we speak about the things we experience, our lived experience in America, things like that. For those of you who say you don't see it or you don't believe it or something, the absolute only thing that I can say is the only thing that we've ever experienced that's similar to that degree of delusion is when we talk to the women and it seems like we're talking to right? And here's the crazier part. How can there be some white people who see it and speak on it on social media? Never mind. I'll probably never figure this out. I don't know what. Can only certain whites see what's going on? Hold on. Who was that? Shout out to my girl Lena for supporting the show with the Cash App. You've already seen what in Minnesota? Listen, I think what I'm really getting into, I think I'm to a place where I'm wanting to ask white people who suppress our conversation when we say what we're going through, do you really believe, listen to me, do you really believe all of Black America is speaking on what they go through in America and they're lying or making it up? You believe that? That would be tougher to believe than to just believe the truth. We're talking about for the last 100 years. For the last 100 years, all of the complaints that African Americans have, you think all of, not even just the number of African Americans that are complaining, but for how many generations? How can't you? I don't know. I want to talk to somebody like, hey, man, I prefer it if you just say, hey, I don't give a damn about y'all. I see what's going on, but at least then I know you're not crazy, because I know that Black people aren't imagining this poor treatment. How would the average white person know these things? We're separated in the communities. TV, the internet, it's not hidden. Police do not do white people like they do Black people. You almost really got a stabbed officer. If you're white, it's pretty tough to get shot. It's pretty tough. This is really insightful. This is what Miss Teresa said. The media does not tell the truth. You know that. When you can look, they have videos. They're everywhere. The one I saw today, The police had the black man on the ground, handcuffed on his stomach, and popped him in the back of the head. Yeah, you don't need to. You can't lie about that. But I appreciate her perspective. Like, I can't say that she's wrong. She's saying that's how she views it. But Jesus Christ. They even have TV shows that show the brutal aspects of, yeah. Is this real? Could this be real? Could there really be a large group of people who put there's videos all over social media? A black woman is going to get body slammed and manhandled by a cop way before a white woman does for the same thing. I have two comparison clips on my laptop. Check it out. Check it out. 80% overweight. Who do you think you're fooling? You have guns, laughing my ass off, no accountability. Even though we all know that my page is about 98% accountability towards black people. Right? And matter of fact, Omniscient Shogun, how about you come on up? If I have nothing else, I have the balls to stand on what I say. There's a link down in the chat. All you have to do is click it, and I'll bring you up. This is what black people have to deal with. Yeah, that's cool. Clip whatever content you see that you like. Yeah, I'm not even thinking that it'll come up. And I think we're going to start having more of these conversations because I don't see how it's possible for white people to not see what black people go through. It's not humanly possible. This has to be some type of intentional. I don't know. Yeah. I very look forward to the conversation though. Like, you guys know me, I want the information. In America right now, there is a man who is famous and loved for walking around in America, walking up on innocent black people, calling them niggers. Right? And you're telling me that you don't believe black people when they bring up how blacks are treated in America? That's what confuses me. Because at some point, this conversation stops becoming disagreement and starts becoming denial. And I think that's where a lot of black people's frustration comes from. Because imagine living an experience, then somebody outside of your experience tells you your experience isn't real, even while you're watching it happen in front of everybody. That's some different type of insanity. And honestly, listen, that's what a lot of black people are. That's why a lot of black people are emotionally exhausted. Because it feels like no matter what happens, people will still gaslight us about it. No matter what happens. When you hear black people expressing their dissatisfaction and complaints about how they're treated in America, and you get offended, then maybe you should be more offended at whatever it is that has such a large number of black people saying the same thing. How about that? You should be offended at whatever has such a large group of people expressing their dissatisfaction with something. That's what I'm trying to get people to understand. When millions of people are describing the same experience, at some point the conversation should stop being black people are playing the victim. And maybe the conversation should be, what is happening that keeps producing these experiences? That's the conversation that nobody wants to have, because it leads to some of the people that everybody in America respects the most. Right? That trail will lead right back there to some of the people you respect most. Even mega churches, all of these things. And again, I'm not saying every white person is racist. I'm not saying every white person hates blacks. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is there is a very real discomfort that many white Americans have with black people speaking honestly about their experiences in America. And instead of listening, the immediate response becomes deflection, anger, intrusion into black conversations. And you can disagree with me all that you want to, but I know what I'm observing, and I'm a pretty reasonable person. Black people know what they're observing and experiencing. And honestly, social media has exposed a lot, a whole lot. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you believe people genuinely don't see it? Or do you think people are intentionally not wanting to acknowledge it? I don't know. It's something that I'm going to be thinking about here lately. It's a lot to think about. For people in other countries to be seeing how African Americans are treated in America, but the people who live in America don't see it. We are 80 to 90% occupants, employers on the sports field in football and basketball, yet we're not allowed to own a team. You don't think there's something wrong with that? Black people don't own the NBA team. Black people don't own the NFL team. Black people don't even own a record label where they can distribute their own music. Black people don't even own filming companies where we can really, really legitimately, without having to go through anybody else, create our own movies and sell them. There are gatekeepers. And there are people who, where if you are even told to be asking certain questions, certain resources that you may need to do other things will be withheld from you. We do some messed up stuff. Black people do have some messed up behavior. And I don't make any excuse for it, but I will say this. I think that behavior is well deserved. I think with what has been done to black people in America, I think the only next closest thing to the behavior that you would see that would be realistic would be the bodies. It'd be death. What was done to black people was either supposed to kill them or impair them somehow. And it definitely impaired us. It KIL'd a lot of us. Imagine flooding on a sneak attack, the most addictive substance that we've ever seen. Flooding, pipelining black communities with this thing. But maybe I'm making all of that up. Did you say black can be racist Did I say black can be racist? I didn't speak on that. Did you say black can be racist? Miss Teresa said, how often do you have conversations with white person? Because most blacks won't talk to me. And you may have some pure intentions, Miss Teresa, I don't know. But black people have been shown over and over and over and over and over and over again that it is not wise to trust white people enough to talk to them. You know, I'm going to give you an example. You guys know how you guys are watching CSI Miami and things like that, and all of these other cop shows, NYPD Blue, right? We're going to go way back. What they feed you guys is 90% fake. I was raised in the streets. I've experienced all of that stuff. You know how you'll see the police officers say, no, we're not going to be able to get a warrant from that. You're going to have to go get me more evidence. That does not take place. That does not take place. As it pertains to the black community, it takes little to nothing to get a warrant. Little to nothing. Why do you think African Americans have the highest rate of overturned convictions? And that's something that I had to learn how to deal with. When I would see these TV shows making it seem like they really do follow the law, no, they don't. Listen, people were talking about how excessive Chud, people were talking about how excessive Chud the builder's bond is in comparison to the guy. What is his name? He took the life of the white kid at high school, Carmelo, right? They're trying to complain that Chud's bond is 1.25 million and Carmelo's is like 250. I've had a mere drug case before. My bond was 300,000. Do you know how common that is in the black community to get $1 million bond for a non-violent offense? Do you have any clue? It's statement making. The bonds I've had put on me, let me see. I don't know. Like, that's normal in the black community to get a $100,000 bond for a powdery substance. It's very normal. Look it up. And that's why, you know, having the information that I had, it bothered me when, you know, people were online talking about, oh, that's what I'm saying. Black people have favoritism and this and that. Carmelo Anthony, he takes a kid's life. His bond is $250,000. Do you know something that takes place regularly in the white community that we don't even really know much about? Even getting a bond on a homicide case. When we get homicide cases, we don't even fix our mind to think there's going to be any bonding out. Listen, in most DRUG busts, men who get arrested for that, their bonds are typically going to be $500,000 and things like that for non-violent offenses. That's very, very regular. It's very regular. Meanwhile, the candy dish that white America typically partakes in the most, for that reason, the penalty rate of touching kids is way less than getting caught with one rock. If I get caught with one rock that weighs half of a gram, well, I'm black, so I'm going to be jammed up if I touch a kid or whatever. But my point is, there's laws. There's laws about this too. There's laws about this. If I get caught with one rock, it will be the equivalent of what will happen to a white person for touching a child. We all know that. We all know that. You guys have churches that are using churches as incubators to touch young kids. And I mean, come on. Do you think whites trust our government or the police? Because we don't. Yes, you do. You may not want to acknowledge that, but there's a guy who's actually famous. I like him. I like him. He goes online and he tells the police what they can't do. Touch me, pig. Da, da, da. I know my rights. I know da 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 da. Do you know what would happen if a black person tried that? Even if you can't concede that, the fact that black people think that there would be a significant difference, us trying it versus a white person trying it, is proof to you of the PTSD that we've accrued. Listen, a lot of you people aren't crazy. You're not crazy, okay? And I think opposed to being in the public eye and pretending that you're slow or crazy, I think you probably feel a more respectful individual if you admitted that you know what's going on, but it ain't none of your business. But like to say, I don't see something that the entire world sees taking place in this country, something's got to be wrong. Something's got to be mentally wrong with you. Something's got to be mentally wrong. I know what's taking place in the Latino communities. I know what's taking place in the white communities. And the things that we do are broadcast, magnified more all over social media. So, of course, you got to be done seeing some of this. I was really wishing I could go down there and get that video. Hey. Nah, King, that's what I'm saying. Like he said, especially in the Catholic Church. They won't even disband that church. They'll fine them for touching all of the kids they've touched in the Catholic Church, but then let them get back to business as usual. But see, listen, the sins of white America have been regulated to come with lesser penalties. The sins of black America and the sins that we regularly partake in, they come with heightened levels of penalties, right? They have a law. It was a mandatory minimum sentencing guideline act that suggested that powder, which is preferably the white man's substance of choice, rock was black people's substance of choice, although both of them are cocaine, right? What a person with 512 grams would be looking at would be less than if a person got caught with 3.5 grams of crack. Think about that. Let that soak in. 512 grams of soft, you will be less trouble than a black person getting caught with 3.5 grams of soft, hard. And listen, the truth of the matter is, that's supposed to be the law. But even when it's black people and you get caught with 512 grams, no. You're going to have $1 million bond. Shout out to my girl Rashada down there rocking with us. All right, if there are no questions or disagreements with the content, we're about to get up out of here. If you have questions, you can come on up. If not, we're about to get on up out of here. Where are my show supporters at? Somebody ring the bell before we get up out of here. Let us know that you rock with the show like the show rocks with you. Ring the bell. We have not had one super chat pop off today. Let's go, people. If you rock with the show, let us know. Look, Jerome said there's a law for white people and there's a law for black people. That's 1,000,000% true. Because I'll go so far as to tell you guys this. The American judicial system is the greatest in the world. The only thing is black people don't get to see it operated like white people get to see it operated. When you see white people go through the judicial system, that's when you can appreciate the American judicial system. You know, you can get beat cases and things like that. In the black community, we don't get to beat cases like that. you file a motion to suppress or something like that and gets overruled, things like that? What you talking about, Philly? What you talking about? Did you hear what happened to Abba from Abba and Preach? What you talking about? About you talking about that girl, that pregnancy? I know the scandal about that chick. I don't know, something about him. I don't know, not wanting to be a father to the child or something like that. Hashad said, Jody, you cannot be this shallow. What she done said now. That's my new troublemaker. All right, people, we're about to get up out of here then. Shout out to my girl Rashada over here setting it off, dropping the love on us. You already know, love. You already know. Yeah, listen, Philly, I'm going to have to check the Larry Wheels divorce. I'm going to have to check that out. Dr. K is definitely in the building. Dr. Craig Case. All right, people, we out of here.
Oh yeah, no, it's done. And how tall are you?
I'm 5'4",
How much do you weigh?
180.
Goodbye.